Hello, welcome to my channel. Today is your lucky day. I am giving away skills absolutely free. I am going to demonstrate to you how to do the flattest, most natural looking sew-in weave ever. It's not microlinks, not a frontal, there's no glue involved, and zero cornrows. It is, however, called the interlock weave. I would have to say the best way to start off is to imagine you're about to do a basic glue-in weave. You're going to part your first section from ear to ear, and you're going to pin the remainder of the hair up so that it doesn't get in the way. You will need a double-threaded needle. When threading the needle, you're going to pull the thread through the needle, take both ends, and tie a knot at the end. Once that's done, you take the needle and you're gonna loop up about a ½ inch of hair. You're starting your first knot. We're creating our base. Loop it through, scoop up a ½ inch of hair, run the needle through the hole, the loop where the thread ties at the end, and you're gonna form your first knot. Do this step continuously, going underneath that first original knot, continuing to scoop it up, continuing to run the needle through the end where the knot is, forming knot after knot. Then to secure it, you're gonna take that needle and you're gonna run it down the knot, pulling it out at the bottom, looping it through. Then you run the needle underneath the knot, looping it through the hole, and pulling it to form another knot. Once that's complete, you go to your next section and you repeat the exact same steps. Looping through where that hole is right there, you run the needle through that loop and you pull it to form a knot. You're gonna continuously keep that section of hair between two fingers in a downward motion to make sure that all the hair flows downward so that it don't buckle, because it will buckle. With this particular technique, you can get relaxers, you can definitely get your hair shampooed, and so for that reason, you want to make sure your knots are extremely secure. So looking at the video, you see I'm going under, I'm looping up the hair, scooping up the hair, going under, and I'm forming a pretty secure knot from one section to the next. When you get to the end, you repeat the same steps. You can then, once your knot is secure, you can cut the thread, cut the needle from the thread, take both ends of the thread and tie a knot, just like you would tie a shoe, but not a bow. Or you can use the rest of the thread, use it up until it runs out, just continuously looping it through each section, forming more knots, thickening the base so that it's that much more secure. Now that your base is complete, the next part is going to be a breeze. So basically, you're just sewing the track onto the base. You're going to lay the track on the very first knot, and you take your double threaded needle, you sew behind each knot. That's like the main point, because that's where the most security is, behind the knot. So you sew behind the knot, you pull it out through the bottom, loop through at the end of the thread where it's tied, and you continue to do that over and over. Feel free at any point in time to loop the needle through 2 or 3 times just for extra security. But basically, as long as you go behind the knot, loop it through at least once, let your knot or where the thread ties, let it land at the top of the track. And that's about it. Those are the main points. Make sure you secure the thread. between your fingers so that it doesn't loosen up while you're sewing, and hold the track pretty steady with your hand. Once you get to the end, you want to loop it through a couple of times. You cut the needle from the thread, take both ends of the thread, tie a really secure knot, cut the track off at the end, and you're done. So now you see how flat this is going to lay. And once it gives a little bit, once it's a little old, you will be able to pull it up. It'll be the flattest ponytail you've had, with tracks, that is. Once you get to your next row, you're just going to repeat the same steps over, step 1 and step 2 of building your base and laying the track. So you probably want to maybe rewind it back and just practice a little bit, because the part that can trip you up a little is making sure that your base is secure and tight, but not too tight, and making sure if you tug on that knot, it won't move. And the same goes for the track. Okay, right here, I want you to watch closely to what I'm doing. And this is what you don't want to do. You see how I'm lifting that piece of hair up? Well, I realized what I was doing, and then I took it back loose. What happens if you lift the sections before you, while you're building your base and making each knot, it'll buckle as it grow out, and you don't want that. You want it to remain flat the entire time that is in, which the recommended time to keep it in is 3 months, just like most sew-in weaves. Once you've finished laying all of your tracks, take a brush, a wig brush, comb through it to make sure there aren't any looped hairs tangled up in there. You want to be able to comb it and brush it smoothly in one direction. Also, as far as knowing how far apart or how close together to lay the tracks, you want to be sure that your client's hair completely covers each track, but not covering it so much that it outweighs the track. And that's going to be extremely important the closer you get to the top. Because what you don't want is to be able to tell the difference. You want to be able to flat iron it and it flows together like it all came straight from her scalp. Now, last but not least, be sure to section each row and flat iron each row one by one at a time, because you don't want crinkly hair to stick out or even to make it appear puffy underneath. All right, so now it's time for me to make my exit so you can style your client's hair. But first, be sure to like, subscribe, and share my video. I shall be back. Until next time, bye.